Welcome back to ABC News Live. First, Massachusetts State Police Sergeant Yuri Buchanan is back on the stand today in the Karen Reed murder retrial. Special Prosecutor Hank Brennan started the day by telling the judge he believes the defense's line of questioning is, quote, inflaming the jury. The defense spent most of Friday having Buchanan read what they call flirtatious text messages between Reed and ATF agent Brian Higgins. Buchanan testified he believed Reed was trying to get revenge on her police officer boyfriend John O'Keefe by texting with Higgins. The prosecution says Karen Reed hit O'Keefe with her SUV later that night. The defense argues she just dropped him off at a house party and then left. Now Buchanan is back on the stand answering questions from defense attorney Alan Jackson. Let's bring in ABC's Ika Jachi, who's following the trial for us, and trial attorney Tre Lovell for more. Tre, the defense is trying to raise doubts here about the prosecution's argument that John O'Keefe died from being hit by an SUV right there in the front yard. And they're trying to raise doubts that maybe what happened to him actually happened inside that house and was something completely different. So how do you think they're doing right now? And what do you make of the line of questioning?
I think they're doing a pretty good job. The prosecution, it's a much better prosecution in this retrial. So the defense has their hands full. But they also have a lot to work with. This is going to come down to, in many respects, expert testimony. The defense has to convince the jury through science that the cause of death was not related to this impact with the vehicle. And that's what they're focusing on. And they're also poking holes in the evidence collection and the mismanagement of that. They're trying to paint the prosecution as some type of the apple dumpling gang, if your older viewers get the allusion to it. And so I think they're doing a good job. They're going to really try to poke holes, just pound reasonable doubt until they get to put on their case with their experts.
All right, Ika Jachi, Tre Lovell, thank you both. Tre, you've seen your fair share of cases. How unusual, or maybe not at all, is it to see investigators talking this way about the subject of an investigation?
Oh, it's very unusual because usually investigators, district attorneys, people on the government side are professionals, and they know that their text messages, their emails, their communications can come in as evidence. They're producible, and this just shows, the dismissive thoughts that Proctor had regarding the seriousness of the investigation, a potential bias, sloppiness, and the defense is really honing in on that because he's the lead investigator. It trickles down with him. And these text messages are very much of a surprise. You don't see this with the majority of law enforcement professionals in the country.
All right, Ika Jachi, Tre Lovell, thank you both. I'm Diane Macedo. The news never stops, and neither do we. We have a lot more news right after the break. Stay with us.